Welcome to 2025. We are back for our first day plastering. What a cold start it is. Let's have a look. Look at that frost on that. She's not been started up since before Christmas. Tyre needs pumping up. Right, let's see if we can open this door, shall we? Yes. Okay, the keys are in. Give it a couple of blasts with the glow plugs. Let's turn that down.
See you later, babes.
Come on. Let's give it another blast with the glow plugs. Come on, baby, come on. Third time's a charm. Come on, come on. It's working. How many days it's been here? It's almost a couple of weeks, I guess, maybe 10 days since I started it. So yeah, she's done well. Right, isn't it annoying when you click on a video and you want to watch something like plastering and then he's going on about other stuff like starting his van and talk about monkeys and things like that, but maybe we'll talk about monkeys at the end of the video. Until then, let's get this tyre pumped up, get the motor defrosted, and then get ourselves to the job and see what we have to do today. It's quite a small job, but it's a little tricky one, so yeah, it's a good one to video. Right, see you in a minute when we get to the job and I'm sorted out. I think I'm going to have to ask the customer to put the kettle on. Okay, so here we are inside the job. Not particularly big job, but a bit of an awkward one, to be honest with you. So have a look what we got. So we got this little porch that's been added onto the front of the house. Now, this is probably too thin to get a bit of plasterboard dot and dabbed on there, and this is quite thick, but what we're probably going to do is just hardwall these in, because we're going to be using hardwall anyway, so we might as well continue and use hardwall to fill all this gap up. Okay, so we've got these walls here, obviously the ceiling through here, this wall, this is going to need floating out, the radiator's been taken off here, and we're also going to go up the stairs here. Now, two things to notice here. I can see with my eyes, when you've got something small like this, see the gap we've got going on up there? Okay, we're going to have to try and average that out and straighten that up as best we can. And also on here, look, we've got the same sort of issue coming on with this line here. Suddenly seems to be diving away and coming up. So we're going to have to put a bead on and pull that down. So there's a lot of straightening up to be done in here, and it's worth doing on a little job like this because you've got so many lines close to each other. If anything's out or bent like that, it's really going to stick out like a sore thumb. A couple of other little things, I'm not too sure what's going on, and looks quite unsightly. See this? I'm hoping that's just a bit of wood trim that somebody put on there, just to try and straighten that edge up. So I'm going to take a hammer and chisel and try and pop that off and see if we can get that back. And again, up here, look, we've got the same sort of thing going on here, and it's actually curling around. So there's a nasty crack up here, so we're going to feather up into here. So first things first, I'm going to start trimming this back. It could be wood, but it looks old. Let's find out. We don't know until we start doing it, do we? Something like this as well, because when you come down the stairs, one of your things that can happen is you can get a chance to cast your eye all the way down these lines, and quite often they're quite bendy. But to be honest with you, other than this little curl round at the top here, it's not too bad. So yeah, it's well worth taking some time to get these lines straight, and also, if you can, try and eye it in again. It's not too bad. This has got a bit of a curl, but what I like to try and do is get your eye up. It doesn't come through on the camera quite so well, but I try to line this line up with this line, make sure they're parallel. Because if one's kicking off and the other one's kicking the other direction, like I say, when you come down the stairs, you get a chance to see it. So there we go. Right, let's start chopping things around and start flattening and straightening things. Okay, so I thought this might be a little piece of wood that they put on there, but evidently not. And in here as well, you can see there's some of the old jute scrim, the old-fashioned stuff. So this must have been done quite a long time ago. So yeah, if they've actually cast it like this, they must have put a bit of wood down here, I don't know, and just, I don't know, and I've not seen that before in these houses. So this one, and this one down here, I've had a little nibble to see what it is, and again, a little bit of jute coming through, so yeah. It's quite untidy and needs straightening up, but yeah, I was hoping it was a bit of wood and we can just pop the whole thing off, but it's not too much of an issue. So we're going to hammer and bolster all this ridge off flat, and then we're going to have to get a bead on there and make this line nice and straight and less complicated on the eye. Okay, so we've been tapping into it a little bit, and as you can see, as we saw earlier, this jute scrim stuff, and I think this has been done. So we look here, look, loads of bounce on this bit of board here. See it really pushing up. Okay, and it looks like there's a bit of a nail head there, and that bit's solid. It's kind of solid at the edges. So I'm thinking there's 3 pieces of wood down here, 1, 2, and this one down here. So I think possibly what's happened is they've put this thick trim on there to try and stop a crack from happening. I think really it should have had more supports in it. Now we can cut this out and replace it and put some more wooden supports in there, but you know, how far do you want to go? We're only in here to plaster, and it's just a cosmetic thing. So I think what I'm going to do is trim all this back up with a staining knife, get this jute off and get a nice clean edge, get all this rubble off that's still stuck in the jute, get this nice clean edge in there, and then I think what we're going to do is use an actual corner bead on here and see if we can get a fix in both sides, and hopefully, and we're going to scrim the life out of it, and hopefully that's going to hold it sturdy enough to prevent that crack from coming back. I mean, if we put a stop bead on there on this side, then it's not going to stop this from happening, and likewise if we put a stop bead this way coming up, it's still not going to stop that. So yeah, I think a bead, so it's going to come over on both sides and try and get some fixings in there, and hopefully that is going to start holding it still. Yeah, we'll kind of like make it up as we go along, I think, but yeah, it's yeah, needs some attention. Let's have a look at this one down here now. Okay, so just having a look at this one down here, what we can see has happened is, I mean, I've tried to take this off coming in this direction towards, because I don't want to damage coming this direction and pop massive big chunks of this off. But yeah, so got the jute in there again. Looks like here, if I come down at this angle, we see the edge of the board stops here for the ceiling, and then it goes up here, which in this appears to be plasterboard. You can see it a little bit further down here. So they've put the jute scrim, wrapped it round, and of course they floated it out to this depth. Okay, so there must have been a crack appearing here, and that's why somebody has come back and tried to remedy it by putting that ridge on there, that extra thick ridge, the same as at the top. And like I say, judging by the age of the materials used, jute, and the way that it's been done, I'm going to guess that this issue came up quite possibly when the house was first built, and they've had to come in and have somebody work out what to do about it. Look, this is curling right down here. I think I'm going to have to get this off. See that curling down? So yeah, I don't want to upset this corner too much because I want to see if I can get away with putting a thin coat bead over this. And again, the same sort of situation. We're going to get a bead over it, and then we're going to get some scrims over it and try and... It is quite solid. I think it's just the depth of the plaster there. It must have formed a crack down there. So yeah, again, a little bit of playing around. I'm going to take a standy to these and get these loose bits off, because if they stop coming through the plaster and stuff, they can be quite annoying. Okay, so on closer inspection, this is what's happening here. So this, I was giving it a tap, and I was like, what's that? So this is block work, okay, and this is a piece of plasterboard that's been put in there. As you can see, it's the top of the stairs come down, and there's a little box room here, the kiddie's bedroom, and so that'll be the floor level around there, and then there's a bed which goes over this. This is a cupboard inside the box room. So there was no scrim on this line here because there was a crack. So what I've done, I've chiseled back into the top coat a little bit, got into the floating coat, so we can get a bit of scrim to sit behind this top coat here, okay, and get onto the floating coat to try and remedy this. There's not too much bounce in this, but I've had a couple of little inspection bits there. So there's a timber there, so I can assume there's a timber that runs all the way across, and there's also a timber at the bottom, so I'd nibble in there because I'm going to put a bead on there anyway, and I can see a timber there. So where this bounces in this board, I think if we get screws that are long enough, we'll be able to come up and nip into this timber and hopefully hold that a lot securer than it is now. This side's not quite so bad, but there is bounce there. This one is bouncing all over the place. So yeah, really going to need to sturdy this up. But yeah, it's surprising how long little bits and pieces like this take. We're going to get some screws in here as well, because this would have been tacked up with nails. It wouldn't put screws. There's a little bit of bounce in that. So yeah, we're going to get some screws in there, and then we're going to get some scrim over it, and then we're going to set our beads and stuff, and just hopefully hold this all still, and the cracks won't come back. This is why I can't have SBR as a bonding agent when you've got somebody else working with you. And look at it, it's dripped it everywhere. PVA we're using as our bonding agent and stabiliser. Look, all over these tiles.
It's been watered down.
I know it's been watered down, but Jesus, look. If that was SBR, I would be doing my absolute nut. Okay, so just looking through my van. I've still got to go away and get some materials yet, but because some of that, those corners in there that we need to bead up, we need to build up those corners that we trimmed out, and some of the others, you know, there's the old sand and cement in there. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to mix up a tiny little bit of bonding coat, a tiny little bit of finish that I've got knocking in the van. Just mix that together and make it kind of like nice, stiff sort of mixture, and we're going to stick some drywall beads up with combination bonding and a little bit of multi in it. Okay, so there we go. It's not too wet, not too thick. It's just right for what we want to do. Okay, ready? Okay, so this is a concrete lintel. You might get some staples and stuff in there, but I doubt it. Because we need bonding and stuff, and we're going to have some up. We're going to stick these beads like so. tiny little bit of mixture of multi-finish with bonding in it, because what can happen is it's just bonding by itself. It hasn't got enough small particles to stick the bead and go through the little holes. As you can see, I like to load up the whole corner. Is this the bead for there, Shay?
Yep.
So what we're going to do is just push that on. Okay. Get that little tap into position. Just be ensured that this is sticking over that corner enough so that we can join up the other bead to it. Okay. And we'll just make sure none of this bonding is protruding in front of the actual bead. Okay, so we're going to stick the side one up in exactly the same fashion. Okay? Okay, because we are sticking these beads up with bonding, it's giving me the opportunity to do a bit of a cheat here. And so what we've done, we're sticking this dry bead, because the wet beads that you get with the bigger gauze on them, they have a much rounder edge, the actual corner of them, which is fine if they're all wet beads, but as a combination of these sharp dries and then a wet bead, I will notice it. So I've just put a dry bead up and I've stuck it up in a way that you would do with a regular wet bead. Now I haven't put a level on this, but it looks pretty good, because as I come by I can cast the edge of this bead onto the edge of this frame here. So I just get up so they're pretty much parallel, and as I cast my eye up and down I can see it's perfectly parallel with that frame. So I'm confident that it's good in this direction, or at least if it isn't, it's the same as the door and it doesn't look weird. And then checking in this direction, what I've done is hold the trowel on the frame, have my finger there just to measure it. And if I come up here on the frame, it's exactly the same. So I'm pretty happy we're good in this direction as well, as long as that door's plumb. So we've given ourselves enough depth there to get some hardwall or the backing coat onto these blocks. Okay, so we've got a little bit of gear left over. What we're going to do, did I mention a 20x5 carbon steel trowel? This is great for doing things like this. So look, I can see, it doesn't come through on the video so well because I have to get right up there, look. So this is diving away this angle. Okay, it's in there, so I'm going to use, you can see it curling around, yeah? So I'm going to use the whole length of this trowel to come off this flat. There we go, Shay, since you're here. Take the camera. This is all PVA, yeah? Okay. So what I'm going to do is start shaping this up a little bit before we put bead on there. So, start coming in, building this outfit up. Like so. Might work in this direction. I'm going to get a bit more gear on that. So, bonding's been sitting in my van over Christmas, and it's an open bag, and I wasn't sure how quick it was going to go off. It seems like it's going off at a manageable rate, but it is picking up a little bit quick. Okay, so here, I'm just going to come up, take that excess off. It's a little bit awkward, I'm trying to do it quickly, just for the sake of the video. And then from here, look, we can take the level from the rest of the ceiling, and it'll show us where that needs to come to. I'm using the original ceiling as the guide. So you can see it gets tighter and tighter as we go. So we're quite thick there, very tight there. I'm going to just let this pick up now. And once it's picked up and gone off, then we can take our trowel and we can scrape off this tiny little bit of residue that's bleeding over. And this is going to give us the base of where the bead needs to go. We'll do exactly the same sort of thing on here. We're going to form the corner first before we put the bead up there. Good idea, if it's tricky like this, to hold your hook underneath. And it's quite important that you push that in there Okay, we're going to do pretty much the same sort of thing. So just for demonstration purposes, use the ceiling to show me this level. Once I've got this level, I'll come in this direction so you can see with the camera. I'll just take it off like so. Straighten that corner up. And we're going to do that all the way along and get that corner in by hand before we put a dry bead on it. And we're going to do that on the top up there as well. And we get down here and have a good close up. So, as you pointed out earlier in the video, there is a timber there that we can jump onto. Look, so coming in at an angle here, I think it's a 38mm screws, just long enough, just enough to bite in there and take the bounce out of that, which makes me a lot happier about this crank not being able to come back again. So we're just going to do this all the way along. Put some screws in here to hold this still. Then we're going to get some scrims up. Remember, this is into the coat, backing float. This is block. This is obviously a piece of wood. This is the backing coat. So our scrim is just going to come up and meet this top coat here. So we're going to get scrim across here. We're going to scrim over this, and then we're going to pivot it all up, and then we're going to bond it in. Okay. Okay, so there's the scrim up there as we suggested we were going to do. Now, as a plasterer, I find these really handy. It's just heavy duty staple, basically. It's powerful enough to fire through a stop bead or a regular thin coat bead. But in cases like this, because we're going to build this out with bonding, remember, I've got the scrims underneath, and if I want to, I can put another scrim over the top just to ensure. But I've gone round the corner here with this bit of scrim tape, and it's quite, because it's so dry and dusty, that we've been able to put a staple in the tops and bottoms to hold that on really nicely. And now we're just going to get a brush and PVA all this little area in, and then it's going to give us a chance to use the rest of that bonding up. There's a little bit left in the bucket, and we're going to start shaping this corner. Okay, so we're kind of halfway through doing this, and this isn't probably the most routine way of doing something like this, but as you can see, look, I'm using the back of the trowel here just because it's so awkward, and I'm using the original ceiling there as my guide to cut this. And look, we're cutting into the plaster, and I'm not trying to come away. If I come in this direction, you might be able to get a better camera angle. So I'm just cutting into this now. Every time you do it, you need to clean that trowel off as well, otherwise you'll be putting that back on. Just nice and gently though, and that should start forming the beginning of a nice angle. And because we come off the ceiling, remember we checked it at the beginning as well, that this edge is pretty good as it is. Okay, tidy that up. Right, I'm going to jump up there and I'll cast my eye up and down there and make sure this edge, like this, lines up nicely with this edge down here. Okay, but I'm pretty confident it is. And then we're just going to let this pick up. And once it's off hard, we can give it a good scrape back and take any high points. But I'm pretty happy we've got it in a pretty good shape right from the outset. And it's going to give us a chance to get those stop beads on there. And they're going to go on there nice and easy because we spent the time straightening this up like this. So we have just picked up some materials for the job. I'm still in the car park there, and from doing these videos, I noticed the different names, all the different companies making plasterers tape, scrim tape, you know, the fibrous tape. This must be a massive competition of people making scrims. So the different names we've had, very extravagant names such as Gladiator Scrim, we've had Monster Scrim, we've had Extreme Scrim. What else have we had? We had one which was just called Plasterer's Grey Scrim. I mean, that was playing it down big time. But today we got some new scrim, and I've not seen this brand before. It's Hippo Scrim. So yeah, apparently responsible for the most deaths in some sort of category, maybe where they live. Yeah, they kill a lot of people, hippos, apparently, don't they? So yeah, today, Hippo Scrim. Let's go and check it out and see how much like a hippo it is. Okay, I'm really happy that we've got these two beads to line up perfectly with each other. I trimmed this back a little bit to accommodate taking a corner bead that we've trimmed down, manipulated, but I just wanted to go around that corner, and then also backed it up and stapled some hippo scrim in either side. I probably put a scrim across here as well, if you remember that was plasterboard, even though there is scrim underneath it as well. Down bottom here you can see where we straightened it out. You can see the undulations of the ceiling, but the bead is straight, and this is just a regular stop bead on there, which is designed for this sort of angle. As far as hippo scrim goes, it's alright. It's orange, it's sticky, but it has been cut rather roughly. Look at all these edges, which means that when you unroll it, you get this excess of scrim stuck around the sides, and it can be rather annoying. Okay, so now we're turning our minds to doing the hardwall or the floating out, and that's what we're using. We're using a product called hardwall. In here is very deep look, but we're just using hardwall to pull that out. I'm going to have to do it in 2 layers, obviously, so the next one is going to come out so thick. And then we're just going to get on and hardwall all these nasty little bits in. So, cavity closer here, taking the time to give it a tiny little lick of PVA just to help it out, because it's plastic, you know, got these ridges on there, but, you know, don't trust it. Also put some scrim over where the cavity closer finishes. As you see, there is some bounce in there, and because it's right on the front door, you know, look, there's this bit of glass, plenty of opportunity for vibration to come through into that and possibly cause a crack. So we're going to do everything we can not to let that happen. Okay, this little patch here that we're hardwalling in turns out to be a little bit trickier than I was expecting. I was hoping to be able to use the wall. It doesn't look like much on the video, but that is quite undulated in this fashion. It's pretty good that way, so it looks like that's what Matey did. So what's going to happen is, if we try to use this to come off of, it's going to put these bends into this wall as well. So I have brought it up nice and gently with this short rule, this Derby, okay? And then afterwards, just take those ripples out, hold it real gently. It's one, if you're not used to floating, some people take off too much too quickly. So we really just want to skim over, so there's a little bit of a hole there that we can fill should we need to. And you notice as well, when we're doing this, you can give it this little wiggle, and that will help it drag less. Okay, taking these little diagonal movements. Again, really, it's just a case of just looking and just trying to iron it out as best you can. Let's say we've got that little gap there. Let's see. Could probably use that little bit of gear there. If we just close it in, we'll start to. So there's just a little gap here, look, to fill. Otherwise, I'm quite happy with everything there. I'm just going to fill that with my hawk and trout. You got a nail in your tyre then, Shane?
Yeah. Thin fill tyres and exhaust, the cheapest one. That's where I'll go.
Okay, looks like we're ready for a little devil float. This is what we're going to do to it. With this thing, which has screws in the end. Just if you don't know, all we need to do is apply a little bit of water, like so, and then holding your float flat, buffing it up, and those little screws are just digging in, as you can see, creating the key for when we put our top coat on, which looks like it's definitely going to be tomorrow. Okay, a quick recap then. That was brickwork in there, bit of wood, we're going to put a bead over that tomorrow. That was quite deep, good sort of like inch or two. Obviously prepped up this is plastic capping, but we PVA'd it and we've got scrims over there holding that on, so we are going to plaster that in. Scrimmed up all the way around here. As you saw from earlier, we had to hack off that nasty ridge that was on there, and then the ceiling was pulling up, so we've straightened that up with a mixture of hardwall and the bonding mixed together. Same as this, remember this was diving up this way, There were some wobbles in this way, so we straightened it up. I was hoping to get some setting done today, but I was way off of my estimation on that. This has taken ages to get this all sorted. So yeah, we floated all this up. That was incredibly deep in here. I did suggest that we float it because he was on about putting coat hooks and stuff up there. So I said, you know, it's so deep. If we dot and dab that, then you're gonna have a big, you know, cavity there to try and bring it out, unless you dubbed it out of a couple of bits. And I thought, well, we can't get plasterboard on this bit here because it was too shallow. So I thought, why don't we just like use the same material to do everything rather than have plasterboard, hardwall, everything everywhere. So yeah, straightened up this ceiling because it was quite undulated again. And then up here, oh, the old knee's playing up again already. Straighten this up as well. It's still a little bit wet. I'm going to wait for this to pick up, and then tomorrow when we come in, I'm going to scrape all this back and get it all nice and trim and cut it all out, the same as what's going to have to happen with all this floating. As you can see, it's all rounded and there's little nodules and stuff everywhere. All this sort of stuff. The bead still needs kind of cleaning off, but it's not picked up enough yet really, so we need to let that set right off and go hard, and then tomorrow morning, first thing we do before we set it, it's going to take the trowel to it and really scrape all that back and cut it all out really nice, get all the internals really sharp and stuff. So that's what we're going to do. It's been quite a time consuming day. It was really hard to guess how long it was going to take. And I've underestimated it. A little bit out of practice. His first job back since before Christmas. So there you go. That's what we're going to do for today. I've had enough and I'm going to go home. So there we are. That's our day for today. If you're still here watching, well done. Thanks very much. It's our first day back, as I mentioned, and yeah, it does, you know, your first day back does feel a little bit strange, doesn't it? You've got to get your working head back on. But yeah, like I say, it's not too strenuous in there, so I guess it's a fairly nice one to sort of like get back into the swing of things. So yeah, we should have this sorted out for tomorrow. It's Saturday today. I am aware of what day it is because I haven't been aware of what day it is for about 2 weeks now over the Christmas period. And I have been sitting around pretty much doing as little as possible. Usual stuff, eating too much, drinking too much, putting on weight, sleeping in a little bit later every morning. Just really enjoying that stuff. So yeah, back at it. So like I say, here tomorrow, and then Monday we are supposed to be back at the Finch job, and yeah, rendering. We'll do some rendering, man, on Monday. Temperatures are supposed to be up. I don't know what the water situation is going to be in the way of precipitation. Is it going to rain? Is it not? England, isn't it? So who knows? But yeah, Jasper's got us booked in to go there Monday. But I guess we'll see closer to the time to see if that actually happens. So tonight I'm busy. I guess one little bit of news I have for you guys, if you're still here and watching this. I proposed to Judy on Christmas morning, and fortunately she said yes. And we've been in a position where we've got to go over and book a venue. Looks like we've got to confirm it. So yeah, proposed on Christmas morning, and we've got a venue and marriage booked for the 29th of March. So there's a big rush on to get that sorted. So I'm keen to get back and earn some money because we've got a bit of a deal where it was a bit of a last minute sort of thing. But God, money, eh? It just mounts up, doesn't it? And weddings, they're rubbing their hands together when they hear that word, aren't they? Everything costs an absolute fortune. I gotta admit, I mean, I'll stay out of it as best as I can. Not that Judy's going to be a bridezilla or anything, but there's a lot of organising to do, and her daughter, and you know, they're all over it, those girls. I'm not going to get myself involved in that and upset the situation. Too many cooks spoil the broth, as they say. So you know, maybe how much is that is probably the contribution that I'm going to be putting into this sort of stuff. But I mean, she has been asking me stuff like, yeah, flowers, looking at flowers, she's got an estimate of like £2,000 for flowers. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, I know. So yeah, we decided to do our own flowers and stuff. But yeah, God, money. So looks like the back tyre is going to hold off for a little bit because I've got a wedding to pay for. So there we go. Right, I have rambled on enough, and as you may have noticed, I've left the rambling on to the end of the video so that you don't have to sit there and think, when's he actually going to do some plastering? So yeah. Oh, like I always say, yeah, if you did enjoy this video and you liked it, and even if you didn't, have a look at the playlist. There's others on here. One of them you might like. But yeah, if you did like it and you do want to support the channel and all that, of course, do that subscribe thing. YouTube algorithm loves it to pieces. It jumps me up the queue and stuff and shows my videos even more. And I might make a bit of money out of some adverts on it. Other than that, I'll keep reminding everybody to come over to the Facebook group. Same name as the playlist channel, sorry. Yeah, the channel's called Plaster Master Smurf 74. I started up a group on Facebook called exactly the same thing. So if you do a little search there, it's a public group. You can post what you want, put your own videos up, have a little chat. It's just a nice way to connect a little bit better than just in the comments on YouTube. And you know, if you're coming over there and join in the group, I get to see what you look like and stuff. So it's nice for me. I'm quite enjoying having that little group going. So with that said, I think that's probably about all I do have to say about that. Like I say, I've got to go home, get changed. Judy's getting in from work, and then I have to drive half hour to a wedding venue and go and pay them lots of money in a deposit. So that's what I'm going to do. So you guys have a fantastic Saturday night, and I'm not sure. I probably won't get time to edit this tonight. I might go up for Sunday, and then I'll get Sunday's video up on Monday, and then Monday's video, blah blah blah. So yeah, we've got 3 days booked. I'm not sure exactly what's gonna happen next week. You need to wait for people to get back to work and stuff, don't you, before you start hearing. But I'm kind of getting the feeling, and I need the money, I need the work. I'm kind of getting the feeling it's going to be busy. I've had a lot of people talk to me that, oh, are you going to be available in January? And yeah, you're going to be, yeah, quite possibly. I know who knows what's going to happen. So I've had a lot of talk like that, saying we got this job and we need you in January, But as of yet, nobody's spoken to me apart from Jasper and then this little job here. So maybe it's just the calm before the storm. Right. See you later. Subscribe to the channel. Go on Facebook. Yeah, all that stuff. And I'll catch you on the next video.